Hey everyone, welcome. This is the new show. Welcome to space. Um, Trust me, this will look way better when I have a green screen and you can't see my room behind me. Um, this is Roll to Confirm. This is my new show, where I'm just gonna be talking shit about role playing games and game mastering and all those things that we love to learn about and talk crap about and argue about. Um, I have a lot of I have a lot of feelings and thoughts that I just kind of like to project into the internet, and you guys can absorb them or ignore them in any way you want. Really, you might think I'm completely wrong. Um, and in that vein of people thinking other people are completely wrong, um, in this episode, the pilot, I'm going to be talking about alignment because alignment is just such an amazing uh, concept in role playing games that really drives so many people crazy. But I love it. I think it's an amazing bit um, of the games we play. Um, so I think to preface things and to sort of lay the ground level, um, let's start with who the heck am I, and what right do I have to say anything with authority on this subject? I could just be some randomer who's snuck into your interwebs. I am a game master and a player of role playing games. I have been playing role playing games for just about, I'd probably say over a decade now. I don't remember when I first started playing. Um, I remember it was some weird Warhammer Quest board game thing that my dad wrote a campaign for. Um, but I've been GMing for about a decade now. I started in Dungeons and Dragons Fourth Edition was the first game I GM'd, um, and since then I've game mastered a variety of systems, two different editions of Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, um, several of the Warhammer 40k RPGs, a couple of Powered by the Apocalypse things. Um, so I think I have like some breadth of experience here that I can share with people. Um, yeah. So and for this particular episode, and probably going into the future with future episodes, when I'm talking about alignment, I'm coming from my experience as someone who has primarily played Pathfinder RPG. I really like Pathfinder. Many people know that about me. Um, so when I talk about what's in my notes, it's all coming from my experience as a Pathfinder player and GM, and I'm going to be ripping some stuff out of the Pathfinder rulebooks to sort of back up what I'm thinking about here. So let's with all of that said, let's have a think about what alignment is. So alignment as a concept is in so many games nowadays. It started out in, of course, everyone's favorite RPG, Dungeons and Dragons. Gary Gygax came up with it, and since then, every other RPG has been like, well, we need some kind of alignment system in our game, even if it doesn't do anything. Um, and so alignment is generally a 1 to 3 word statement about a character that kind of describes their moral tendencies, etc. So in Dungeons and Dragons and the clones thereof, this is the traditional law and chaos and good and evil axis. A character is lawful good or chaotic neutral or neutral evil. Um, and In other games, this might be, for example, off the top of my head, in Black Crusade, you have an alignment to one of the four Chaos Gods. You may be a servant of Nurgle or a servant of Slaanesh. I mean, we're all servants of Slaanesh, aren't we? In the end, um, and alignment is used and not used in various different games in various different ways. So, for example, in Dungeon World, alignment is another way that you earn experience. You are rewarded for acting in accordance with your alignment. At the end of the session, you can say, yes, I did a lawful good thing, and you tick that off and you get experience. Whereas in Dungeons and Dragons, a game that does not reward you for role playing, interestingly, alignment is often just a label. In many games, it's a label that's ignored. In other games, it's a label that's completely misused, in my opinion. And I think in general, alignment is something that helps players when they're creating characters to serve as a jumping off point of what their character is going to be. If you're making a wizard and you think, oh, I think my wizard's going to be a bit nutty and crazy, you can write down chaotic neutral, and that serves as a reminder on your character sheet to occasionally do things that are a bit crazy and nutty. The other end of that, you may choose, I want to be someone who is a stand-up proper guy who saves maidens and slays dragons, and you write lawful good on your character sheet and you think, oh, maybe I'll be a paladin. And alignment comes from the media and stories that inspire the games we play. So obviously Lord of the Rings, trying to think of something else which I'm blanking on. Literally all fantasy in the end comes down to issues of good versus evil. There is some existential threat to the world which is fundamentally evil in every single way, and there are characters who are fundamentally good fighting against that evil thing. And since Dungeons and Dragons is so heavily inspired by The Lord of the Rings, we want to know that our characters are fundamentally good or fundamentally evil. And I think in certain games, Dungeons and Dragons in particular, alignment sort of serves as a process in which we can understand the cosmology of the world. So there's something about how the universe works in Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons or any other game that uses it in this way that says that someone who is evil is affected by a paladin differently to someone who is not evil. A paladin in Pathfinder cannot use Smite Evil on someone who does not have an evil alignment. So that tells us something about the cosmology of the world that we're playing in. It tells us that morality is intrinsic to the universe, and there is a definite morality. And there are things that are fundamentally good and things that are fundamentally evil. With all that said, though, I do not think that alignment is some prescriptive element of a character. I believe that alignment is a description of your character. It is not something that says, I am lawful good, therefore I will only do lawful good things. It says, I'm lawful good because I mostly do lawful good things. And I think a lot of GMs tend to err on the prescriptive side, especially when it comes to paladins. Paladins are a real grey area character that, you know, what does the paladin actually do when they've slaughtered the evil goblins and they find the baby goblins? And it's important for us to sort of understand that I have no idea where I'm going with this thought. I'm gonna take this thought and we're gonna throw it out the window because it's rubbish. We're gonna move on. So, alignment is not prescriptive. It is descriptive, and it tells us about our characters. It should not be used as a straitjacket to restrict what a character does, and it should not be used as a straitjacket on races and groups of people in games. We need to accept that just because the character sheet of an orc says chaotic evil, that all orcs are chaotic evil. An orc can easily be lawful good. There may not be many lawful good orcs, but there can be a lawful good orc. And when it comes to the baby goblins, the baby orcs or whatever it is, we can understand that yes, they may have tendencies like instincts that will push them towards certain alignments, but there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to be educated and pushed by an outside force towards more good or lawful alignments. Alignment for me is a description of a character's personality, and it is therefore a shorthand way of knowing how the universe is going to react to those characters. If your character gleefully murders and slaughters his way through town, then the universe is going to react to you in a certain way because of the fundamental absolute morality of Golarion in Pathfinder or the Forgotten Realms in Dungeons and Dragons. We know that a person who goes around and kills is evil if they're doing it for evil purposes. And therefore, when they get hit by a Paladin Smite, they will take extra damage because game mechanics. And to sort of back me up here in saying that alignments are descriptive, we can look at the Game Master Guide for Pathfinder, which has this line in its section for alignment, which says alignment exists primarily to define and summarize the moral and ethical tendencies of characters in the game for both PCs and NPCs. So it exists primarily to define and summarize the moral and ethical tendencies of characters in the game. So if your character is morally and ethically a person who protects others and serves the greater good, will stand up against evil and protect those who are weaker, then you're probably lawful good. Or maybe neutral good if you have problems with authority. And of course, with that in mind, then we know that alignment is something that is fluid and dynamic, and that allows us to do so much more with our characters. If we accept that alignment is a description and it is therefore just a reflection of how the universe is going to react to you, we know that alignment can change. And from other games and from from most games that use alignment, we know that alignment needs to be something that can change. There are so many games that have paladins in them, and so many of these games require that if a paladin does something that is not lawful good, or whatever it is paladins are in that game, that they lose their powers. If alignment is prescriptive and therefore a paladin cannot do anything that is lawful good, then the line about a paladin loses his powers when they do non-good things is worthless. But if alignment is something that is fluid and can change, then paladins can fall. Clerics can change allegiances between deities. Villains can be redeemed, and heroes can become anti-heroes. These are all interesting character arcs that, while games like Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons don't reward you for playing like this, we all want our games to tell stories like that. And again, we can go back to I go back to the Game Master Guide here, which says characters also risk having their alignment change if they continually act in accordance with an alignment other than the one they choose. If you continuously do things that are chaotic and you have true neutral written on your character sheet, then maybe we're going to move you to chaotic neutral. If you continuously choose to kill sentient creatures, if you're a lawful good character and you're in my game and you always choose to kill enemies once you've defeated them in combat, as opposed to taking captives, setting them free, taking them to higher authorities, then I'm going to start thinking you're not so lawful evil, lawful good. I'm going to start thinking you're more maybe lawful evil. And by doing that, me as the GM, as the universe, can decide that because of the cosmology of the game, perhaps the universe is going to start reacting to you in a different way. And this goes... Sometimes these kinds of games go too far. And recently, Pathfinder released a book called Horror Adventures, which is mostly pretty good. There's some really good content in there. It's not easy to run horror games, and I don't think Horror Adventures actually does horror games properly. But there's some cool stuff for theming and the like. But Horror Adventures kind of took this idea of fluid alignment and says that for spellcasters, so in Pathfinder there are spells that have alignment descriptors. So this will be a spell like Infernal Healing, which is a evil spell. In the description line of Infernal Healing, it says evil. It is a necromancy spell. But it's actually an incredibly useful spell for people to use. It gives you fast healing for 10 rounds. It's the most efficient healing spell in the game. But it says in Horror Adventures, if you cast this spell 3 to 5 times, specifically 3 to 5 times, your alignment will move from good to neutral. I mean, if you cast it another 3 to 5 times, your alignment will move from neutral to evil, which is kind of dumb to lay that out in a really mechanical, numerical way. That if I cast Bless Water 10 times, can I then cast Animate Dead 10 times and stay being neutral? That seems a bit ridiculous to me, that Yeah, I am an all-powerful wizard necromancer, and I have an entire horde of undead behind me. But Mr. Paladin, you cannot smite me because I cast protection from evil on myself 72 times. It's really kind of stupid. But there is something in there for me that kind of makes sense. That if we take infernal healing, if the material component of infernal healing is a vial of infernal blood, if you're rubbing devil blood all over yourself to heal a little bit faster than your cleric friend can do it, maybe that's going to have some effect on your mind. If you are a orc shaman who takes... Where am I on my notes? I'm lost. No, now I'm completely lost. Where am I going? Hang on a second. Okay, I found where I am. If you are some kind of, say, orc shaman, and your orc clan is generally considered neutral evil because you raid and pillage human villages and all of those things, and you're led by a terrible, terrible orc guy, and then you continuously get attacked by demons because there's a demon portal nearby. If you're casting warding spells against demons, you're casting protection from evil on everyone, you're saving the members of your clan from being destroyed by demons. In my opinion, that magic is going to have some kind of effect on your mind. It's not going to be the number crunchy way that Horror Adventures lays this out. It's not going to be you cast protection from evil 3 times and you're suddenly true neutral instead of neutral evil. But I think over time, maybe you're going to think more and more about how you can protect people. And by defeating a greater evil, you may begin to consider yourself less evil, and in that way, the universe is going to respond to you in a different way because you've been fighting against something that is so dramatically evil. And then on the flip side of that, I see so many times on the Pathfinder subreddit of, can I make like a neutral necromancer? Can I make a like a neutral good necromancer? Can undead be good? Is that a thing I can do? And in my opinion, no. At least not at first. Well, hang on. At least not for long. You could be neutral. You could be a cleric who's true neutral. And decide that as a last resort, you're going to raise a handful of skeletons from your village cemetery to protect your village and your family from bandits. Now, you think you're doing a good thing. You're convinced that, oh no, we need these undead to fight and protect us. And maybe you are doing something that is for the greater good, but soon, like those necromantic energies, seeing these corpses that you have forcefully torn their souls away and destroyed them in order to create an undead creature, that's gonna like get you to your core, right? That's going to affect you. And maybe when you see how successful these undead are in defending your village, well, maybe you should summon some more. Why not? Old Man Parsons down the road died the other week. We could do with another zombie. And then in the end, are you really going to stop and think after 5 years of raising undead that, oh, I guess my wife died. Maybe we'll make her a zombie. Who knows? Alignment to me is a really interesting and wonderful system, but we really need to consider characters complexly. We need to think about their desires and their morals. We need to consider their actions. And we need to think about how a universe and a cosmology that has absolute morality, because the games that we play that have alignment systems do have absolute morality. How is the universe going to respond? And how are your characters going to change and adapt as the world is reacting to them? I think that's all I want to say. I really like alignment. I think it's brilliant, but I think a lot of people take it too simply. We need to think about it more complexly. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to end this show. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been the pilot episode for Roll to Confirm. And hopefully I'll do some more of these. If you've enjoyed it, like, tell me about that somewhere on like Twitter or Discord or something. Tell me what I can do better. And yeah, you guys are cool. Thanks for letting me rant at you for nearly half an hour. I have some ideas for future episodes. I want to in particular talk about critical hits because of the name of the show. Where am I pointing here? Because of the name, literally, Roll to Confirm is like my favorite little phrase in role-playing games. So we'll talk about critical hits at some point. But if you've got other ideas on things I can rant about, feel free to, again, get in contact with me on Twitter or something else. I guess my Twitter is Ashley_Nova_. And be sure to follow me here, and you'll be able to find out when I'm doing stuff. I think next week we have another episode of Shadows of the Iron Gods. And yeah, this has been a really crap ending. I'm sorry about that. I kind of got really into it and then fell over myself. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you around. Bye.